If you've been following my channel recently, you'll know that I made a video where I ranked every single boss battle in the entire Mario franchise that was dedicated to Goombas. That video was to bring awareness to just how amazing Goombas can actually be, and how they're not these wandering idiots everyone assumes them to be. And you know what? I'm not done praising these little guys just yet. If you remember, some of the boss fights in my previous video were minigames from the Mario Party series, and I'm surprised to tell you that there's actually a lot of minigames throughout the Mario Party games that are dedicated to these guys. So today, I am going to rank all of them. And for those of you who are wondering what qualifies as a Goomba minigame, I've decided that either Goomba must be in the title, or they must be the primary mechanic of a minigame. So, like in this minigame, there may be a lot of Goombas, but they're just spectators of the real event. This video will be based on how creative and fun the minigames are, as well as a few of my personal preferences. So without further ado, let's go! 24. Goomba's Chip Flip. A bunch of chips get shuffled up and scattered around in a grid. You and another player then take turns ground pounding the chips and hope you get a high number of points. Whoever's first to get 50 points wins the game. It's a neat idea, no doubt, but the problem is that it's completely luck-based. There is no strategy when it comes to picking the right chip. Also, don't even bother trying to look at the chips as they get shuffled. It's really not gonna help you. 23. Trapeze Artist. A group of Goombas are wandering around in a field, and the players have giant cages that they have to drop on the Goombas to get the most points. Regular Goombas are worth 1 point, and the gold ones are worth 3. This is another minigame that's very reliant on luck. You have no control over where the Goombas move, and you'll likely hold out for a great catch only to end up with nothing. But at least with this minigame, you have a bit more control compared to Goomba's Chip Flip. 22. Goomba Guess. You're given a large batch of Goombas and Goloombas and have to memorize which ones are the Goombas. They'll mix around during the time limit and even when they go dark, making you have to pay extra attention. Once the timer's up, the players have to quickly pick all of the Goombas they can while avoiding picking the Goloombas. The issue is that memorizing which is very easy, and because there's no limit on how many you can pick, this becomes more of a speed game than a memory game. 21. Word Herd. This 1v3 minigame has one player holding a mic and ordering this herd of Goombas to move around in this field. The other 3 players are in the field with the Goombas and are trying to punch them out. The player with the mic has to shout directions to make the Goombas run around, and as long as one remains when time runs out, they win. This is a decent minigame, but it's usually not that hard for the 3 players to win, and talking into the mic can be a bit clunky. 20. Call of the Goomba. You rotate a music box and try to lure as many Goombas as you can to your side of the forest. You'll know if the music you're playing is correct by the music notes coming from the box. Clear notes means that you're playing it wrong, and colored notes means that you're playing it right. It's an alright minigame overall, but it's honestly really boring, and there's a little bit of luck involved with the Goomba's movement because they're scattered all over the place. 19. Goomba Stomp. You're equipped with a giant wooden mech, and hordes of Goombas will run around for you to squish. You simply run around the space given and have to squish as many Goombas as you can before time runs out. This minigame is incredibly simple, but kind of fun. It does feel satisfying to completely annihilate all these Goombas in a short amount of time, even if the minigame does get boring after a few playthroughs. 18. Royal Rumpus. You and one other player are trapped in a small area, and Goombas will start running out of the tall grass. Once that happens, you'll have a limited amount of time to ground pound as many Goombas as you can. Just like before, most of the Goombas are regular and just worth 1 point, but there is the occasional gold one that's worth 3. This is another perfectly fine minigame. It's a bit too slow for my liking, but having just one other player makes it a lot more competitive. 17. Ka-Goomba. Probably the most unique minigame on this list because this one uses Nintendo's 3DS augmented reality carts. You and 3 other players are competing to shoot down the most Goombas, but now you control your aim by turning the 3DS all over the place, and once again, you have regular and gold Goombas to shoot at. It's still a pretty easy minigame, but just the fact that Nintendo got something like this to work smoothly is pretty impressive if I'm being honest. 16. Get Along Goomba. You swing a large rope and have to round up as many Goombas as you can before time runs out. The longer you wind up the rope, the bigger the hoop will be for you to collect the Goombas. I find this minigame fun because it really makes you think on whether to go for small handfuls or big ones, especially since you have 3 other players to go against. It is admittingly a bit too simple for me to love it, but it's still a pretty good minigame. 15. Goomba Wrangler. There's a bunch of Goombas wandering around in a field, and the players have to draw circles around them with a stylus to scoop them up, while also avoiding the bob-ombs that roam around the field. So basically, it's just like Get Along Goomba, but using the touchscreen makes this minigame a lot more fast-paced, and having the bob-ombs is a nice thing to watch out for when playing. 14. Goombrat Combat. Yeah, these aren't technically Goombas, but they're close enough for me. It's a 2v2 minigame where you have to punch the Goombrats to the other team's side, and whoever has the least amount of them when time runs out wins the game. This is a pretty fun minigame. It has that frantic nature that the Mario Party series is known for, and I love how just one punch sends a group of these things flying. In fact, we're now getting into the truly great minigames. 13. Goomba Village. You've got a row of 5 mushroom houses, and once the game starts, a humongous horde of Goombas will start running inside them. The players have to pay attention to which house has the most Goombas, and be the first to pick that house once the Goombas are done. This is a fairly difficult minigame, but it is pretty engaging, and I also love how during the countdown, the Goombas leave the house slowly at the end. It adds this level of suspense, which I really like. 12. Goomba Gallop. It's very similar to Goomba Village. You're still trying to find the largest number of enemies, but now you have Goombas, Goombrats, and Galoombas running around, and you have to figure out which group has the most. There's even a second round where you look at them from a different angle. I prefer this one because it has more variety, and it's nice to have a second round so you can earn more points, but this and Goomba Village could really be switched depending on you. 11. Goomba Gotcha. This game picks from a Goomba, Goombrat, and Galoomba, and then the screen switches so we see a bunch of them waddling around. Your goal is to search the area and click as many of the selected enemies as you can before the other players. Whoever manages to tag the most enemies wins the minigame. This is kind of like the last 2 minigames where you have to keep track of enemies, but there's also the added element of speed, which makes this a lot more interesting. 10. Goomba Spotting. Remember that roll call minigame from Mario Party 2? Well, this is basically that, but a lot better. Goombas run across the screen, and you have to count how many there are. Even though that might sound boring, what makes it fun is that the Goombas run by very randomly. They'll sometimes run across at different speeds, and they might even stack up on top of each other. It's also worth noting that, unlike roll call, you can't decrease your total amount, so you have to be careful of that when playing. 9. Goomba Tower Takedown. A tall tower of Goombas chases you around this arena, so you have to grab an apple and throw it at them to knock them out. After a little bit, the Goombas will get angry and start moving faster, and even explosive fruit will start falling from the sky. While not my favorite Mario Party boss battle because of how repetitive it is, this game is still really fun, and it has plenty of other things thrown in to make it more engaging to play. 8. Goomba to Maneuver. This long, scary path is filled with these spiky plants, and the Goombas need your help to get through it, so you have to guide a long line of Goombas through the trail while making sure none of them get hit along the way. Whoever has the most Goombas when everyone gets to the end wins. I love this minigame for the dangerous scenario you're put in, and the fact that you have a long line of Goombas following you makes you have to plan ahead so none of them get knocked off the path. 7. Hotel Goomba. This one is incredibly short, but oh so fun. You have to be the first one to climb to the top floor of a hotel, but there just so happens to be a bunch of Goombas in your way, so you have to punch them out of the way to get to the elevator the quickest. This is a really cool concept, and it's executed really well here. I do wish there were a few more floors to go through, but what we have is still really awesome, and it makes for an excellent puzzle minigame that doubles as a race. 6. Paint Misbehavin. You ruthlessly shoot at a bunch of Goombas with paint, and whichever team can cover the most Goombas with their color of paint wins. The outcome of this minigame really depends on the last few seconds, but this is still a blast. It's so satisfying to completely destroy these Goombas, and you can even hit the other players if you have a clear shot. I also love how once the game is over, the winning team starts shooting at the losers. That's such an amazing detail. 5. Goomba Bowling. I might be putting this minigame higher than it deserves, but I can't help how much I love it. You throw a Koopa shell down a bowling lane and try to knock out as many of the 20 Goombas waddling around as you can. As simple as this sounds, there's actually quite a bit of depth. You're able to change the direction and the place you throw from to get a better score. Also, seeing the shell just quickly run down the lane and completely annihilate all of the Goombas just looks so damn cool. 4. Mega Goomba's Ladder Leap. Everyone has to climb up some ladders and jump on Mega Goomba's head the most. There's also these flying squirrels that'll glide by to make you lose points. At the halfway point, Mega Goomba will get angry and start moving faster, and the flying squirrels will come by more often, so you have to watch out for that. I don't know what it is, but I think this minigame is incredibly fun. The competition factor is really up there, and it makes this minigame a lot more interesting. 3. Mega Goomba's Bad Dream. You have to run and grab some apples from Mega Goomba Goomba and bring them over to the basket on the other side, while making sure to avoid the Goombas waddling around in the middle. Just like before, Mega Goomba will eventually get angry and start attacking the players, as well as bringing in more Goombas to try and stop you. I'm honestly surprised that a handheld Mario Party was able to deliver such a thrilling and fast-paced minigame. It can genuinely be hard sometimes, but that only adds to my enjoyment. 2. A Cornucopia. Again, these aren't technically Goombas, but I'm still gonna let it slide. Each player is carrying around a plate of acorns and has to walk to the other side while a ton of Goombrats are walking around trying to knock you down. And when I say a ton, I mean it. There are so many Goombrats strolling around here, all walking in different directions, and some of them running around. This makes this minigame insanely chaotic, and again, it's actually difficult, which makes it more fun to play, especially with other people. 1. Goomba Gold Rush. By far one of the best high score minigames in the entire series. You move side to side on a rail and shoot as many of the Goombas walking towards you as you can. The way they walk past is always random, and there's also things like bob-ombs and power-ups that can help you rack up the best possible score. This game is simply fantastic. It's extremely fast-paced, and mowing down all of these Goombas as they come by just feels awesome, and that's why this is the best Goomba minigame in all of Mario Party. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, then make sure to give it a like, and let me know down in the comments which one of these minigames is your favorite. Also, subscribe to my channel with notifications on so you'll know when I post more videos like this. Have a great day, stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next one.